everyone, this is Trish Griffin here, and I am here today to talk with you about any problems that you may be having relating to your finances, regarding any issues that you're struggling financially with, if you need someone to talk to, or just looking for answers. That's why I am here. And if you do need answers and you want someone to talk to, you can reach out to a certified counselor at Family Credit at familycredit.org or by calling 800-994-3328. I want you to use Family Credit as a resource because there's a lot of great information that you can get, tools, tips, just someone to walk through your debt with you, review your credit report, whatever your financial holdbacks may seem to be. And today, I think, is a very important show because I've had a lot of people over the past couple of weeks, actually, ask me about bankruptcy. So I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about bankruptcy. Now, keep in mind, I am not an attorney. I do not practice law. And so my information that I'm giving to you, this is not any legal advice. You can take the information that I am giving and make your own decisions. Actually, I do want you to consult legal help. If you feel that this may be an option for you, you do need to talk with someone about it. You can also talk to a certified credit counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328 or at familycredit.org. Now, I think this is so important that we all just spend a little bit more time thinking about our debts and finances. Over the next few years, things may become a lot rougher than they have been. And we've been through a lot already with the onset of COVID, coming out of that, the looming recession, the inflation that has hit us all, and prices just skyrocketing beyond what a lot of people can afford. We're finding that we're running out of money. And with running out of money, we still have obligations. We still have our monthly bills to pay. It's not really about what we want anymore or those luxury items that we're seeking. It's about how can I survive? So that's why I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this topic and let you know that there are ways to get out of debt financially. There's still people out there that are available to help you, and you can talk to a counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328. So I've had some people that are saying that, yes, I'm not sure what to do, or I'm looking for some kind of way to get rid of all of this real quick and just start over. Keep in mind, bankruptcy is there for a reason, and it was created for those that cannot currently sustain the lifestyle that you've had due to some recent hardship. It could be job loss, loss of income, loss of a family member. There's so many different reasons out there, but a lot of us, we still keep fighting, still keep working towards just becoming debt-free. And for a lot of people, there are a lot of negative implications that come along with bankruptcy, so they're scared of it. So that's why I want to talk about it just a little bit, because there are alternatives. There are alternatives out there for those of you that do not want to file bankruptcy. Now, when you file bankruptcy, you are essentially saying, I have this debt, I can't handle it, I can't make my payments each month. I'm falling further and further behind, and I just can't do it. I'm overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do. Now, a rule of thumb that's out there, I would recommend that if you have debt, and if you're thinking about bankruptcy, because bankruptcy does follow you for so long, it's always a good idea that to just really think about what is it that you want in the future? What are those goals that you have, those financial goals that you have? Are you planning to make any big purchases? Because when you have that bankruptcy looming over you, a lot of times it prevents you from getting the best financing. It prevents you from getting even financing. It prevents you from getting a lot of things, or it disqualifies you from a lot of things that you may want in life, whether it be financing for student loans or just that big ticket item. So it's something that you really do need to think about. When you have that bankruptcy, you're essentially saying, I'm getting rid of everything because I can't afford it right now. And there are 3 different types of bankruptcy that we most use, actually 2 as a consumer. So when you have a bankruptcy, or you're looking at filing, you're looking at what your options are, you may talk to an attorney and they will give you a couple of different options. With a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, a Chapter 7 is saying, I can't do it. I can't make any payments to anybody. I just don't have the income. I need to get rid of it all. It sort of gives you a clean slate, but you're still going to struggle. But those debts that you're including in the bankruptcy, they are wiped out. Now, just because they go away, you have to think about those implications too in the future. Let's say you file bankruptcy on a certain credit card. Keep in mind, because you filed bankruptcy on that credit card company may refuse to give you another credit card in the future. It could possibly be even 10 years, and they'll remember that you filed. So keep that in mind too. When you're filing on those creditors, do you intend to go back to them in the future? All right. The next thing that I want to talk about is if you're looking at, you may say, well, I can afford things. It's just really tight. I can afford to make a payment. I don't want to just disregard my creditors. I don't want them to write everything off and charge everything off. And so I'm going to try to do a repayment to them. Now you're going to sit down with your bankruptcy attorney and you're going to go through your budget, and they will come up with a payment for you to make each and every single month. Now, keep in mind, you're making this payment for anywhere from 3 to 5 years every single month, and you're paying back a percentage of that debt that you have. It is court monitored. So yes, you'll be making your payments. Those are reported to the court system because remember, this is something legal now. Okay. So when you're doing this bankruptcy, you're really saying, this is it. I can't handle anything. I just can't do it. So you either do the Chapter 7 where you wipe everything out, or the 13 where it sets up a repayment plan. Now, a lot of people think when they do a Chapter 7 or 13, the one is better than the other. Honestly, it depends on you. And again, I am not a bankruptcy attorney. I'm not giving any legal advice. I'm just merely giving you information on what bankruptcy is. So when you look at it and you decide whether you want to wipe it all out or make a repayment plan, that's really up to you and what's best for your financial situation. Now, keep in mind, they both still affect you. Bankruptcy can affect you for 10 years, for up to 10 years or more. It will show on your credit report. And if you have a Chapter 7, that bankruptcy is going to stay for 10 years. Okay? It's going to make sure that you don't get any new credit right away. When you do get credit, again, you may be subjective to at-risk financing. You may have higher interest rates. You may have not be able to get a loan. You may need to get a co-signer on those loans. So those are things that you actually do want to think about. When you file with a Chapter 13, yes, you are repaying, you're making those repayments. And keep in mind, you're going to be making those payments for 3 years, right? After you finish making those payments, that bankruptcy stays on your report for another 7 years. Guess what? Still 10 years, right? This thing is going to affect you for 10 years. But again, there are alternatives out there. One of the pros of why people do file bankruptcy, a lot of times they're getting pressure from a collection agency. They're getting pressured or threatening bills or reach out from attorneys, things like that, and they're scared. And you might be going through that, and I totally understand. But you do have rights as a consumer to make all of that stop and then align yourself with your budget. We'll go over that a little bit later on too. Now, with the bankruptcy, once you file, once it's entered into the court system that you have filed bankruptcy, your creditors must stop harassing you, must cease contacting you in any negative ways while you're getting everything set up. So that's called an automatic stay, meaning that, hey, their creditors have to leave you alone while you figure everything out, figure out how this is going to work, if this works for your budget. And some of your creditors are even hoping that you take them out of the bankruptcy too. So that's another period that you'll go through and discuss that with your attorneys, which debts you are really including on your bankruptcy. Some people may not know, but you can't really include everything on your bankruptcy either. A lot of times you may think, I can get rid of everything, get rid of all these debts, these student loans, all of that. But no, keep that in mind. Not all debts do qualify you for bankruptcy. One of those debts is student loans. A lot of times you can't really get rid of a student loan in a bankruptcy, can you? It can be done, but it's an extenuating process and you must show the reason for it. So work with your attorney if you think that that's possible. But a lot of times, again, this 10-year effect on your credit report, that's a lot. So what we do is we look at different ways of saying, hey, maybe bankruptcy isn't for me. Maybe I shouldn't file bankruptcy. Maybe let's work on getting my credit together. That's what I recommend. And the reason why I say so is because guess what? Even though your credit report will keep that bankruptcy on you for up to 10 years, again, your credit score only looks at the last 24 months worth of history. So that means if you're going through something, you've got a bad debt, an account that's charged off, you've got a collection agency bothering you, you can work out arrangements with them to help avoid any type of bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is there again for a reason. It's a trump card that a lot of people use for that automatic stay. Well, what can you do so that you don't have to file bankruptcy, so that your credit is not affected? Think about that. If you were thinking of doing a Chapter 13 where you repay it, guess what? You can set up a repayment plan on your own directly with your creditors. And if you do not want to set up repayment plans with your creditors, you're feeling leery, you don't like talking to them, remember, counselors are on standby. 800-994-3328 at familycredit.org. Reach out, get some help, figure out what creditors do what, who can offer you assistance, which ones will bend over backwards to help you, which ones will do the most for you, which ones should you take care of now. Where does this lie within your budget? So there are really great options out there because you don't have to file all the time. Also, if you do not owe much, let's say all of your balances are less than $7,000 or less than $10,000, but you're just being harassed, I do recommend that you find help with looking at a certified credit counselor to sit down and go over your debts with you and help figure out a plan for you to become debt-free without jeopardizing your credit. Because remember, 10 years on that bankruptcy, 2 years trying to fix it yourself. Which one sounds better? I think putting in the hard work, looking at your budget, seeing if there's anything that you can squeeze out to pay on those debts. And also keep this in mind. If you're being harassed by a collection agency, if you're being harassed by your credit card companies, you can actually go to them too, and they may be willing to offer you something because they don't want to see you file bankruptcy. They don't want to lose you as a customer. They want to do what they can to help you too. Well, some of them do. So you can reach out to the creditors directly or reach out to Family Credit Management at 800-994-3328 and see what options you have available. Now, again, when we're talking about bankruptcy, what you can do when things happen. And so a lot of times people don't realize that you still have protection as a consumer by law to kind of help direct those creditors and let them know, hey, I don't have any money. I don't know how I'm going to pay this. I don't want to file bankruptcy, but this is what I can do. I know I owe you this amount of money, but maybe I can make payments for $20 a month right now, or $10 a month, or $50, depending on what your budget is. See, we're going with what your budget is, and offer that to them. See if they're willing to accept that for now. And you also want to know, are they going to continue to charge you interest? Is this something that they can do to help you? Can they accept these smaller payments for a little bit? Those are options. There are great options that are out there. Now, if you've got those creditors that just are badgering you, you can't take it, you can do what's called a cease and desist process with those creditors. Again, you're telling them, I do want to pay you, I just can't do it right now. So the way to do that is you're going to put it in writing. You can write a letter. You can send an email, but remember, if you're doing that, you want to make sure that no matter what, you get proof that someone received it and someone read your request. So you can send it certified through the mail. If you're going to send an email, ask for their email address, see who you can send it to, if there's a supervisor, a manager that's willing to help you. So those are ways to help you avoid bankruptcy. Also, you want to look at your budget, see what extra you can get out, if any. And a lot of times, I know we're struggling with our budgets too. And we may say, well, there's nothing in my budget. I can't pull out anything else. Then I want you to start thinking about what are those things that you do in the course of a month. You've got to be accountable, hold yourself accountable. What are some of those things that we do that we can be contributing to our financial situation and making things better? What are those things that we can cut out? What are those little spending leaks that slip by us all the time, because we all have them? No matter how much we try, they just happen. You could be at the gas station, buy something extra at the grocery store, and, we spend extra money. We could see a nice shirt that we want. Those are little spending leaks that will go a long ways in helping us repay our debts. You may say, well, it's just $20. But guess what? $20 paid on that balance makes that balance $20 less. And you take those little steps and you discipline yourself and keep going with those things like that. Put those little things in your path so that yes, I'm working towards my goal. I'm working towards paying all of this debt back so that I do not have to file bankruptcy, because that's my goal, to repay this debt, to do it in a good time frame, and to get out from under it. So if you've got questions about that, again, you can reach out to a credit counselor that's ready to help you, that's able to help you, that knows what the creditors will do for you at 800-994-3328 or familycredit.org. We've been talking about bankruptcy a little bit too. I also want to advise you that Family Credit still has this available, Personal Finance Made Easy. You can pull that off of their website. You can get it for free. You can download your own copy, or you can request that they mail this out to you. And the reason that I'm pointing this out, because there is a great chapter on explaining what bankruptcy is, but also what you can do to avoid bankruptcy. Those things that you can do to just take a look at your financial concerns, your financial picture. All of those things are in this book. It's such a small book for free that you can request and you can get to help you through your circumstances as well. There's so many other resources out there. And a lot of times we may hear those commercials that say bankruptcy attorneys are on standby. Bankruptcy attorneys are there. You can talk to a bankruptcy attorney. You can, but I also want to recommend that you talk to more than one and make the best decision for you. Talk to a certified credit counselor, talk to a bankruptcy attorney, see which option is best for your budget. And then also think about this. If I am going to file, what's my plan to make things better after this? What am I going to do to continue to improve so that I'm not falling back into bankruptcy again? Because here again, you don't want to be a repeat offender. And sometimes there are people out there that have filed more than once, that continue to file. And some people use it as a crutch. But it's up to you to change things, to make things better, and to improve your situation. And you definitely can do that with all the tools that are available, the resources that are available. Find help, the right help. And remember, a lot of times, if it's going to be an easy and quick solution, a lot of times it may not be the best. It may cost you the most, but a lot of times a quick fix is never easy. Remember, you did not get into debt overnight, and so you cannot get out of it overnight. It is going to take some time. But the good part, SCORE looks at the last 24 months worth of history. Even though all those bad things are there, last 24 months worth of history is what the SCORE is really going to focus on. And that's what we want people to see. The positives that we've made, those changes that we've made since everything went bad. So keep that in mind. If you've got any other questions, again, reach out to a counselor at 800-994-3328. Now, I did tell you that there were 3 different main types of bankruptcy that people tend to use, right? So with that being said, we talked about Chapter 7, which is where you get rid of everything. Chapter 13, where you make repayment plans for 3 to 5 years, and that's gone through the court system. And then the last chapter that a lot of people use is a Chapter 11. Now, Chapter 11 you may not have heard of, because guess what? This is strictly for businesses. So that's why a lot of people don't really know about Chapter 11. But keep that in mind too. If you own your own business and you are looking for some help, and you've got creditors that you cannot pay, you've got judgments or liens popping up that you cannot pay, this may be an option for you too. Again, I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice, but for you to find the help you need is very important. So you can talk to a bankruptcy attorney about a Chapter 11, which is your business bankruptcy, Chapter 13, which is the repayment plan, or Chapter 7, which is getting rid of everything. Now keep in mind, if you do file, it may be hard for the next few years because now you have to work to rebuild yourself. If you are looking to get a home, you do need to wait. If you are thinking about getting a conventional loan in the future, you need to wait 4 years after your bankruptcy has passed before you can buy a home. If you're thinking about doing FHA, you need to wait 2 years before your bankruptcy, after your date of discharge, before you can buy a home. So also keep those things in mind. Now, there's some other cases where you may be able to buy a little bit sooner, but it might cost you. You have to do your research and you have to see which fits your situation. Also, if you're looking to get an auto loan right after bankruptcy, you may be able to get one, but it's going to be at such a high interest rate and you're going to pay such high interest that you may want to just save up and get a used car for now, or find another alternative and wait for your credit to get back on track. So keep that in mind when you are thinking about, should I file? This does affect your budget. It affects your budget so much, and I want you to have the right tools in order to recover if you do decide to file. And if you don't file, you want to work on repaying things back yourself, that is the best option that you can possibly make for you, yourself, and your credit. Because guess what? It takes a lot less time to rebound from being delinquent, from being past due, from getting collection notices than it does if you were to just go ahead and file for bankruptcy. So also keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you can handle it within your budget. You want to do what's right for you, and you want to think about your goals in the future. That's the most important. If you know that you're looking to buy a home in the future, you know you need to move within the next year, then bankruptcy may not be for you. It may not be the time to file. So let's look at some alternatives, because guess what? You can increase your score within the next few months with making a few little bitty changes. Yes, they're little, but they're drastic, and they really do help you improve things. I've heard some great feedback on just different ways that you as a consumer, you are out there trying to make things better. So keep that up. Bankruptcy is there for a reason again, but there are other alternatives. Reach out to a certified counselor, 800-994-3328. Go on the website, familycredit.org. Grab Personal Finance Made Easy, because guess what? Yes, it has been made easy. It's put right here for you. And you can just get a copy for yourself or download it and print it off. Totally up to you, but those tools are available. They're there, and I want you to use that. Again, we went over what bankruptcy is and how it affects you. And a lot of times people say, well, when should I actually file? Again, not giving legal advice, but this is something that you need to sit down with your family and discuss. What are our directions for the future? If we file, we know this may affect us for 10 years. Are we okay with that? Are we okay paying higher interest rates? And sometimes you may say, no, I'm not. So then let's look at what alternatives are out there. What can we do to get you out of that situation? And then you may say, yes, I'm okay with that right now because I can't handle it. Again, it's there for a reason. It shouldn't be abused, but if you do need that help, that's why it's there. So you want to reach out to a professional. You can reach out to a counselor, a credit counselor, a financial advisor, or a bankruptcy attorney, and just figure out what your options are. You can reach out to all three and see what's out there. Think about this. Think about your retirement, your goals for the future, and how this will affect you over the next few years. Are you okay with getting higher interest rates? And you could be okay with the higher interest rates too, because now you want to concentrate on what that monthly payment will be for anything else that you go out and get after bankruptcy. It is possible to recover. You can recover. You have to be diligent and work at it, and then you can make this work for you. But I do recommend sitting down, going over your finances, establishing your budget first, looking at your goals, and then looking at your expenses. If you've got those collection notices, read through those, see what options that they are offering. If you're not comfortable talking to them, you can reach out to a counselor, and they are more than willing to help you. If you are being there is an instance that if you are being garnished, or you have your checks being garnished, your paychecks being garnished, now that's a little bit different. You may want to look at legal advice because, again, that automatic stay happens right away. So if your checks are being garnished, that may be a good reason for you to say, okay, maybe this is something we would want to consider, because this will stop the bleeding right now. And we just have to work on everything getting better for the future. So keep that in mind and keep up with all of that. You've got to be disciplined when you go through bankruptcy as well, because it can stress you out. It does weigh on you mentally. So what's your goal? Even though you may have to go through this right now, concentrate on the positives. What's your goal for afterwards? We have a plan of attack after all of this is over? And if we're getting rid of it, what do we need to do to make sure that we never have to be here again? Again, there are options out there. Reach out to a counselor, 800-994-3328, and find out more information about your alternatives, and so that you're not stuck filing for bankruptcy if you don't have to. Again, use this tool, Personal Finance Made Easy. This can be sent to you free of charge, or you can go online and download it. Now, if you've got any other questions, again, reach out, familycredit.org, and 800-994-3328. We'll be back again with more questions. I hope this information was helpful to you. I hope you have learned something, and that you'll be able to use this information here to make your life better. Again, stay empowered and work towards your financial goals. We'll see you soon.